Hello YouTube, I just wanted to say hi. It's been a little bit since I've been on here and I am ready to do a garden tour with my new space. Tim and I were talking about it this weekend and we figured that we are done with the building and moving phase that we've been working on since last November. We decided we had to move the garden space because the neighbors' trees had grown up so big over the last 18 years that they blocked the primary light. And I have been so glad to watch my other garden space be mostly shaded this whole time and have it not be the case here in this new space. So we've been working on bringing in more dirt and shaping the beds, and for me, last year with my kids getting married, it was the year of the flowers, but this year it feels more like the year of the green. Like my goal is to turn the brown spaces green and to cover the soil because the weeds are wanting to make themselves known. The places where I brought in my own soil from my compost piles or my chicken beds or whatever I've done in the past, I can already see things trying to creep in there. And sometimes it's flowers and wildflowers and stuff, so that's been really fun to transplant those into places that I want them. But this place, this seat and my little red chair over there have been my favorite little sit and enjoy the beauty. I have my lilac is in bloom, and so I better just get you started. So here we go. This is the beginning of the garden tour, and I'm looking forward to showing you all that's behind me. There's so much more green than there was, and there's so many signs of spring, and the seed planting is beginning. The stuff from the greenhouse has been getting out. I have new growth and plants coming back that I put in the fall, even though this was the first time garden space. I have the normal pests, not quite as many slugs yet. They're coming, I know they are. Moles that are digging holes. The robins are picking up all my seeds that they can possibly find. It's actually kind of entertaining to watch them. And who knows what else is going on in here. It's been pretty fun. So let me show you. I'm gonna take you on a tour.
Master, are you my garden kitty?
So here is the garden. So my trellis is still there, and I have scarlet runner beans, a climbing rose, sweet pea. I have a birdhouse gourd and a loofah coming in from the sides, so hopefully we'll get this huge trellis covered over. That would be the dream, to see it canopied by this summer. And I love my new little space, my gate. It's been so fun to be creative and find my way in here and change things up and get things growing. I got a little bit of a water system going. Eventually we'll make an actual spigot and make it permanent, but it's been nice to have hose water in here, easy sprinklers, the whole thing. So a lot of my bok choys and my tulsi are going to seed, chard and cilantro, mustard greens, brassicas, still going strong. We've had an unusually dry, these are peas, and they ate my first ones two days ago. They're coming. Little lettuce. I put my tomatoes in there, and this is arugula going to seed, spinach, that one's parsley. I have flowers on the inside of both of these, but they're still coming in and they're still taking off, so we'll have to wait to see how lovely they look. But there's always such a great before and after every year. I got a few sunflowers tucked in here and there. This is not lupine. Yeah, it's lupine. It's not columbine. And there's some foxgloves in the corner. That'll be pretty for next year probably. And I put my tomatoes, most of my tomatoes are along this outside row because it gets the most sun. I have some artichokes right there, and I'm looking forward to it. This, I don't know if Aunt Cindy is watching, but this hanging bird bath, it was made by her. She's a potter, and so she made that, and it's been fun to see it out and on display. And yeah, so I had this farmhouse thing inside my house with houseplants on it, and it wore through, so it was starting to drip water on my surface. So I put it out here, and the houseplants were scrawny, so I didn't even take them out. So they need to be taken out. But I have snapdragons and geraniums and stuff like that coming up in there. And then there's the big tank of water, which I use for my watering can, and it has fish in there, and I just love that they're so happy in there. Can you see them? The goldfish are up and eating. I love having them in there, and my plan to have fish emulsion fertilizer is double entertainment when they're just so cute, so lovely. I have 2 tanks of them, and I'm loving it. My hoses, I still haven't figured out how to organize them back here yet. We got some herbs and that's rhubarb and some collard greens. And this is my like stash station. I just showed you guys the messy part first, right? I've been getting these rounds. My husband's been chopping me a bunch of those out of the big tree that fell down at the creek that's been blocking the waterway down there. So we've been clearing that out, and he's managed to make me a bunch more circle rounds for paths, because if I don't have the right place to walk, then I will usually step on things that shouldn't be stepped on. But there's fish in there too. Garden, we got some dill coming up, some fennel over here, some salad and some more spinach, potatoes, and those are radishes. This is the corner of the garden that will stay the most shaded. So I have some borage back there and hollyhocks and some wild plants that stayed there, and I didn't take them out because I thought they were pretty. And this was planted here last year. So I have my, what are those, allium bulbs? There's going to be 4 of them there. Some forget-me-nots, bee balm, and two different kinds, catnip and bee balm, and mint over here. This is not contained, but at the first I planted it, it didn't matter if it went like crazy. But now this is my garden, so we might have to tame it a little bit. We got some peas growing on the trellis back here, and way down tiny, I have some struggling cucamelons that will take their place when they're grown. I got some cosmos planted in and out, and it's just been fun to fill things in. There should be a lot more coming as the sunshine comes to bear. All right, so this little area right here is my new dirt. Like, I brought in all of the deep litter mulch from the chicken pen, which will be hot, but it's underneath several inches of this fresh soil, and when it'll be watered through and diluted by the time any plant roots get down to it. So, but I wanted to show you something. Do you see all of those little marks? See all the little tiny marks in the soil? That would be where the robins have come in and systematically picked out the seeds, the corn seeds. So I'm trying to wait and see if any of them come up, but you can just see it's like polka dots. They're everywhere. And I've just tried to decide if I'm irritated or delighted that they would actually systematically do that. And so there'll be plants coming up on the side, and some melons and squashes and pumpkins and all kinds of stuff if they didn't get picked out by the birds. And I have my little walking path there. Oh look, there's baby lettuces coming in. We'll actually have green in the soil. See, this is the goal. I actually planted peanuts and saw them get picked out, and I had beans, so I might have to get some bird netting and protect my space here. But this is brown. Note the brown. Note the brown. Even this, I planted my cucamelons here and some delicata squash in here. But I see a potato that I planted earlier on that I forgot where I planted. I'm forever setting aside spots, planting things, thinking I'll remember forever. And yeah, right. So these are oca and sunchokes, and I planted them in pots because I've heard they're invasive. So I'm not sure how invasive. Sometimes invasive is good, sometimes it's not. Yeah, I'm not sure if the oca or the sunchokes is too invasive. There's kind of a line, like the mint over there. I've seen how it grows, and it can be terror. And whenever the roots go somewhere, it'll grow underground for a while, and then all of a sudden just sprout up everywhere. And I saw a lady one time on I think it might have been in the Roots and Refuge Facebook friend group, where she had rototilled her mint into her garden by accident. Like there was a small patch of mint and she rototilled her whole garden. So every time there was a tiny piece of root, she grew a mint plant. So her whole garden ended up being a big mint patch. So that would take a ton of work to get out. But this is like a certain area. I kind of like it's a little organic growth. I'm kind of okay with that, but I'm keeping an eye on it because it is very invasive. And I've heard the same with the oca, which is oca is a little root that is a substitute for potato. It's a little tinier one. And then the sunchoke, same thing. They're a substitute for potato. And so when what I found though is I heard this lady one time. There's a garden stand up the road from my house, and she's been at it for decades. And I asked her one time, I said, do you ever have a problem with this invading and da-da-da? And she goes, you don't like it there? Rip it out. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of simple logic. You just rip it out. So I kind of have a new thought, like, if I don't like it there, and like with the mint, the roots don't grow very deep. You have to get every piece of it out, but they're on the top layer. So it's not like you're digging to Texas to try to get it out. But so we shall see. Right here in this area, I have some okra, which usually does not get all the way to the point of seed here, like where you can eat it. It doesn't fruit. You can get to the blooms, but not the seed. So I'm growing it for bloom. And then I have some climbing beans here, the pole beans, but I think they're going to be the kind with the yard-long beans, and I'm excited about that. And they're growing. They're growing in here. I got a few seeds coming up, but it's kind of a mix for me between the beauty of it all and the eating of it all. But I've already been having several salads out of here, so good with that. My garlic is coming in strong. I had leeks here planted before, so I've kept those and used them as a border. I do have a few gladiolas coming up. Won't those be pretty here? Potager all the way, a mixture between herbs and beauty and edible fruit. That I'm showing you this because that's lined with beets. If they actually grow in, it'll be kind of pretty. And then we have this space over here. This is where a lot of my soil is trying to cover itself with weeds, and you can kind of see the back to Eden method. And of course, we have the lovely moles that they come in here and eat the earthworms, and they're happy to do it, but they disrupt the plants like crazy. They never eat the plants, but they disrupt them. So this is a row of carrots here, but all of those seedlings in the mix here are actually weeds. It's trying to cover the bare soil. I've had several lupines and some snapdragons and some columbine and some fun stuff come up, but I'm gonna have to grow things in here to cover the soil, or it's just going to turn into a weed fest. And these are nice healthy lettuce, and then I've got my radishes, which I've already been picking a few off of them. They're kind of at that cute little phase where they're super yummy. This time of year is my favorite because they're not quite so peppery. And I keep waiting in this flower bed because this is a potato and this is a potato, and there's one up there, there's ones over there, but this whole section is supposed to be potatoes, and I think I had two varieties, so this one's being slow, but hopefully this will just turn into a bed of potatoes. And I have dahlias and other flowers coming up in here, but again, it's kind of bare until it starts to take off. This was one of the fun parts about having a potager garden is I get to have my lilac bush and these ferns. They're just so lovely. I just can't even. It's so pretty to me. Oh, this is one of those, I wish you had smell-o-vision, because this is so pretty. It's so pretty. Look at that. And it's in the garden space, and they're just so lovely. I thought about growing some runner beans up this bush for the rest of the summer, just to make it pretty. And so there's a lot of flowers in here: poppies, lamb's ear, sweet William, and all kinds of stuff. So I can't wait for that. I put some lettuce and basil in here. The lettuce has started to come up already, but these are all my peppers. And of course there's some more parsley and lettuce mixed in there. And that's a pineapple ground cherry that's trying its darndest already. And look, we got the sweet peas are starting to come up. Look, I have ones that I started as seedlings, but sometimes I think that when they come up from themselves, they actually do better. Hello, thank you, Baxter, for helping me. Are you thinking that's fun? Huh, mister? So we use the grass clippings as a weed barrier, which you can do that this time of year when there's no seed heads on the grass clippings, if you bag your grass clippings, which I recommend. But they do get hot, so you have to leave a space. This is this little wire thing. My daughter Lizzie decided she wanted to be a gardener and have a little space. So she has a melon in there, she has a tomato, a little bit of lettuce, she has some carrots, but she wants it to take care of itself. So we shall see how that goes. So here is another, that's a little patch of different kind of lettuce, some kale, some carrots. See, this will cover the ground pretty good. And then this is turnips. I haven't decided yet if I like turnips, but I planted some cucumbers in here. I haven't seen any of the cucumbers come up, so they may be victims of the robins. The robins seem to have a radar for where that is. This row of green across the bottom is spinach, a couple rows of carrots. The carrots are in here, but this is, I always have the hay, not straw, from my chickens is underneath here as a fertilizer. So these are like, you'll see in the summer, they'll come up, they'll be an oat or a barley or something that's an annual. And you don't have to worry too much about them taking over like grass seed, like hay would, but it's definitely a pain in the rear. But actually when they full bloom, I kind of put them in bouquets and stuff. It's pretty. So enjoying my space. This has marigolds planted along the front and actually have nasturtium seeds if they come up. I did the chives as a border again because I just think they're pretty when they're all filled out. And you can see little green here, little green there. Those are the beginnings of zucchini and delicata and other kinds of squash, which I did not mark, so we shall see what they are. Sweet peas coming up. Oop, that one right there, all the way on the end. Not this one, but there's one next to it you might not be able to see. Scarlet runner beans to grow up the fence. And I put flowers down by my bench. And over here in the tub is asparagus. I don't have an asparagus bed yet, and I've heard that asparagus is invasive again, the invasive thing, that it works like a grass though, so it's pretty much, you have to contain it to keep it in its space. And then of course I got a nasturtium and some snapdragons because the asparagus will die back at some point. So this is this is first year asparagus that I started from seed. So it'll take me a couple years to get up there. I've been planting lavender, tiny lavender that I started from seed along the inside. That down there is my older lavender. There's some few, my goal is to have this be a bunch of wildflower seeds. That green thing is on the other side is mason bees. We have friends of ours that has a mason bee business, pollinator business. And this, the crazy fence line down here, kayaks down there, super steep terrain. The camera doesn't even do it justice. My husband had to figure out how to build a fence here. So the goal is to surpass the weeds with wildflower seeds, and I have my work cut out for me, but it will happen. You watch. We'll fill it with lupine and columbine and little daisies and hollyhocks and whatever I can get to cover that in. So this is my garden space, and I'm loving every second of it. I have a lot more to plant out and some stuff in the greenhouse. I should probably show you my greenhouse. So my daughter Debbie isn't moving home for the summer, so she has a patio. So we got her a couple pots that has bee balm and mint, chives, and some little flowers. And that's what these big pots on the ground are. That one's full of flowers. One's got some cucumber starts that have got seeds that are coming up. This is lettuces and kales and sweet peas. We've got some scarlet runner beans and strawberries, tomato and pepper. And then all the fun plants that are still left. I actually have just planted a few new ones. My greenhouse is small but mighty. It can keep the temperature in here pretty good. Got all the way up to 120 the other day, so I had to definitely open things up, keep things from sweating out. But this is my best new feature. Let me show you. Here is the best new feature. I can actually water right from here. Like, I don't have to do buckets and buckets and buckets. I can actually get the watering done with the push of a button. Of course, that is like dreamland, and I'm loving it. My plants are loving it, and my family is warned because they know the danger of me with the hose in my hand. I love to scare my children, and I may have been that person who has taken the hose into the house, the running hose into the house. I like to have this garden. I love my new greenhouse. I've been in here. Yesterday I actually figured out some tricks for dictating a story. So I was in here. That's why the flowers were in here, and I lit my bug mosquito candle just to set the mood, keep the bugs away, I guess. But I sat down and dictated my novel, a novella that I'm working on, and I got so much done. And to add, you know, I was planting things out every once in a while when I was brainstorming. I had dirty hands, and I was getting dirt all over my notes that I was writing, but I actually got quite a bit dictated, and I was like, oh, this is going to work. This is going to add another layer to the fun of the book journey, which, again, I'm going to tell you some more about my books in just a minute, but the month of May the 15th, my book is out in hand, hardback. It's out for pre-order now, but it's such a long time coming. 9 years. 9 years, Mother's Day weekend, 2012. And it just feels so, I've had so much fun the last couple of weeks, celebrating the different milestones along the way and really trying to savor the win, because it's been hard work. Some of my goals this year is to work on the flower bed out front. I have a flower pot in the front that I want to do. We have some finished work around the house where I took out a problematic flower bed. And I'm going to do a video about hazelnuts and blackberries and other weeds that we deal with here that aren't necessarily weeds to other people, but in Oregon they are invasive. And I have a couple tools. My two favorite tools are the same ones from Roots and Refuge, so if you're watching from Jess over there, you'll see them. But I have been influenced. I am convinced they're the best tools out there, so I was going to show those to you. Well, at the end of my video, I wanted to put this on here. I'm all dressed up because today I actually got to go to my friend Camille Ide's book launch party for her book called The Secret Place, and I'll put a picture of that in right here. And it was really fun to share that day with her because mine is coming in 2 weeks. My book is live. You can pre-order and purchase that way, but in 2 weeks it is going to be in my hot little hands, and that has been a dream, 9 years in the making. A seed planted waiting for the fruit and for the bloom, a plant waiting for 9 years. And so on top of that, I wanted to show off a couple of books. I think I showed this one on my Instagram already. I should probably get in here closer. All Through the Night by Tara Johnson is a fantastic read. 1860s United States, kind of fun. She's always a charming writer. She has a way of making it suck you in and get you all in there. And then this one is the one I'm reading right now. It's called The Nature of a Lady, and this one is about the Isle of Sicily, and it has a little mystery, a little treasure hunt in there. And the part I really like is that there is a character in here who knows about botany and about plants, and so there's a little plant fun, and it's kind of like the perfect read for the garden season that I'm in right now. And so I sit out here with my hot little drink and my neon green bumper pad because everybody needs a bumper pad, and I sit facing this way or I look out at the beautiful creek behind me and I just enjoy. Sun is still trying to decide whether it's going to be here or not. Might even rain on me, so we'll see. But this is what I'm going to do now. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.